Hello there, and a warm welcome along to the tune. To the tune? Not the tune. Well, we've had the tune, dear. This is the show. The tune is... I've got the word tune in my head because we've got something very special to play you later on. It's actually a tune. It's actually a TV advertisement or commercial jingle that I have been looking for over 25 years, and it suddenly appeared on YouTube. Now, I've got three of my favourite all-time advertising jingles, if you like, from the television, and I've been able to find all of them. And the top one is the one I'm going to play you later. I shan't tell you. We can build up to that excitement later on. Okay. A warm welcome along to you. This is Chris Reardon with today's United Kingdom talk. Hope you're well. We're back in the studio today. It's a little bit dark and dismal outside after a nice little outing into Swinley Forest by the lake. Did you enjoy that show? Wasn't it nice? Nice to have the different sounds around you. And after I kind of finished that show, I remember saying to you, of course, that I would love to go up there at night time and hear the owls. Dwoo-dwoo. Dwoo. How do they move their heads around? I can't. I want to try. Let's try and be like an owl, starting on the right and moving your head as round as far as you can. And you've got to do the twooing as well. You ready? Twit twoo. And the big eyes. The big eyes. Twit twoo. Twit twoo. We don't really get owls in the garden, in my garden. My sister, up in Lincolnshire, of course, she always has to go one better, dear, but she reckons she actually does hear owls in her garden. So I shall listen out for that when I go up there early November time. But I was saying that there are apparently, according to a lady I was talking to over at the lake on the last show, there are a lot of owls up there at night, sort of 4 or 5 in the morning. But of course it's pitch black at that time. I'm a little bit nervous that poor Chrissy will go over there and be attacked. Maybe I could take my cats with me. They would protect me, wouldn't they? Eh? So I hope you enjoyed that show by the lake. Let me see what else I've got here. Oh, no one wrote in about the Buddhas. Do you remember these lovely little Buddhas that, who is it now? Ivona in Slovakia sent me. There were 3 different Buddhas in different sort of, with things around their necks and different, and I wondered if they signified anything. So if anyone is of the Buddhist religion and can help me with that one, I'd be interested to know that, okay? The email address of the show is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Since the last show, Suko in New York, and I have recorded a song, boys and girls. Now after I put the phone down on her, I suddenly thought to myself, perhaps we could bring out an album, Suko, or perhaps even better than that. No disrespect to yourself, Suko, but we could collect different viewers and listeners to the show, and you could all do a song each with me. What do you reckon on that one, eh? So what we need is lots of duets, really, don't we? Perhaps the Christmas show this year, now there's an idea, perhaps the Christmas show this year could involve you, dear loyal listener and viewer to the programme. It could involve you singing a little duet with me. What do you reckon, eh? What sort of duet would you like to do? That's the question. You choose. I sing. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Also, since the show before last, I've had an awful lot of emails from various people who work behind bars in various venues. Notice, I am being very, very careful not to indicate who I was talking about, or what bar they worked at, or what city the bar was in. And I've had various different emails from all different bar staff, including Daniel at the Two Brewers in Clapham, and John in West 5 in Popes Lane, Ealing, requesting, is it them I'm talking about? No, it isn't. But I cannot divulge the person, or they'd be ever so upset. They really would, and I wouldn't sleep for weeks. I really wouldn't. Do you remember, it was a couple of shows ago, and we were saying how awful it is to have miserable bar staff, or indeed be served, and indeed work with miserable bar staff who, let's face it, some bar staff are a little bit above themselves, aren't they? Now, we all know you do a very important job. Pubs, indeed my job, could not go on without having bar staff in a pub. It's true. All I'm saying is that some of them are so far up themselves it's unbelievable. So don't be up yourselves. Be nice and pleasant, just like me, 24 hours a day. Smiling and happy, never looking miserable, and never having a go at anyone. It was quite funny. I can't believe the amount of emails that came in on that one, but there was lots of emails saying, "Oh, you weren't talking about me, were you, Chris?" I mean, I might have been. I might have been, because obviously I cannot reveal who it is. Do you know what? There's something's digging into my arm underneath the shirt. I'm not going to strip. Don't worry. I've just got to get this out. What is this? There's something in there. I hope it's not an insect of some sort. What is that? Is it part of the shirt? Hang on a minute. No, it's not. There's something in there. Oh my God! It's not a dead wasp or something, is it? Really? Oh, I can feel it. Let me get this. I don't know what that is, actually. I can't get it out. No, it's not an insect. It's oh, it's moved. I don't mean moved as in an insect. No, it's gone now. There was something actually stuck to the inside of my shirt. I don't know where that's gone now. 1 minute. It's probably dropped down my arm. Oh, these things are sent to test us, aren't they? I'm going to quickly do my buttons up. Stop looking. Don't look while I'm trying to adjust myself like that. So all those people that took the time and trouble to write in, little bar staff, saying, "Was it me you were talking about, Chris?" No, it wasn't. Okay? No, not the people that wrote in. All the people that wrote in, it wasn't one of you. It was someone else. Now, who do you think it was? Any idea at all? Privately, I might answer you. Email address, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. On the other hand, maybe I'll leave it to you to decide who is the worst bar person in London. Okay? All those, "Is it me, Chris?" They're going, "Is it me?" No, it's not you. What else has happened? Oh, last night at Bingay, West 5, Popes Lane, Ealing, every Tuesday night from 8 p.m, a lady came in called Jane. Now, Jane used to come to the Bingay in King's Cross, and she came along with her husband Derek, and they played Bingay all night, and they bought me in a little present of some bulbs. Some flower bulbs, a little bag of extra ones that she obviously had left over from planting out in the garden. So thank you very much. Actually, Jane can't hear the programme. Jane is deaf. She lost her hearing some time ago. Now, at the beginning of the year, I can't remember if I told you, but she actually had an implant in her head. Okay, so that she was able to, I'm not sure the quality of the sound that she was listening to, but she was certainly able to hear something with this implant. And it was very interesting. Basically, they shaved a small part of her hair, sort of to the side, and that was metal. Okay, and this device actually used to attach to the metal thing on her head, like a magnet would attach there, and she would be able to hear things. Now, unfortunately, at the beginning of this year, she got some sort of, I think it was the beginning of the year or the end of last year, she got some sort of infection there, and she spent some time in hospital and sadly had to actually have this very expensive device removed. So at the moment, she's completely deaf, which is gutting. Especially if you've, I do believe Jane was able to hear at some point in her life and lost her hearing. To me, I think that would be a lot worse than perhaps being born deaf. And I think possibly the same can be said of blindness. Now, I do know we do have a couple of blind people who watch the show. Excuse me, boys, but I can't remember. Have you always been blind, or did you lose your sight? I would assume that, once again, it must be much worse to actually lose your sight rather than being born blind from scratch. If you've got any comments on that, as always, it's chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Anyway, Jane bought us... Oh, by the way, coming towards the beginning of next year, Jane is going back in the hospital and they're going to try and put an implant back in there so that once again she can be able to hear. So fingers crossed. There's a lot of money that does, which the NHS, through all its faults, will be paying for. So that's brilliant. Thousands of pounds, something like that cost. But, I mean, what price do you put on one of your senses? I mean, if I said to you, how much would you... I want to buy your eyes off you. How much would you sell them for me? You wouldn't sell them, would you? You can't put a price on your senses, or indeed, I think, any part of your health. Now, talking of... So thank you very much for the bulbs, Jane. I'm sure her husband will let her know I was talking about her, wouldn't you, eh? Her husband, Derek, he's a lovely bloke, he is. I shall be planting, actually. I shall be using those to plant up the last remaining 2 of my hanging baskets. Now, do you remember... Oh, please, don't say not the hanging basket. I can hear Anthony, actually, my friend Anthony, saying now, not the hanging baskets again. Don't worry, I'm not going to get them out, dear. I'm sorry that such a subject doesn't interest you, but some of us do like gardening, lovey, and bulbs and planting and beautiful things and smells. Anthony is a gadget person. Every time, I usually bump into him on Sunday, not every Sunday, but some Sundays, he comes down to the pub where I DJ at. That's the Two Brewers in Clapham. And he's always there, fiddling about with this mobile phone, showing me the latest thing. What has he got? A Nokia N95. And he brings this thing along and he shows me the latest thing that he can do with it. And I'm sorry, dear, but next week, if I find out you're going to be down there next week, I'm going to bring 2 of my hanging baskets down and start describing how to make one of those, lovey. Some of us are interesting. He came and he sent me an email. Not the hanging baskets again. Yes, the hanging baskets again, lovey. We like hanging baskets. Anyway... I don't remember if I told you a few shows ago, I have done 4 hanging baskets for the back of the garden and 2 at the front. No, actually 6 for the back and 2 for the front. But I bought an extra 2 brackets, which I haven't put up because, well, I ran out of plants. And really, I thought to myself, well, it's a bit late to start buying them and doing them all again now, so I leave it till next year. Well, now that Jane has given me these little bulbs, I should probably put the other 2 brackets up somewhere and try and make it a little bit more beautiful here in Royal Berkshire with some more blooming flowers in spring. Thank you very much, Jane. Okay. Now, talking of bodily type things and what have you, I have been to the hospital. I actually don't think I told you about this, but on my last dentist trip, the dentist noticed that I have a very small black dot in the middle of my lip at the bottom. Now, I've got to be honest, I've never noticed this. I don't know how long it's been there, but he noticed it last time, and it was the same dentist that I always have. He didn't mention it last time, so I will assume that it's happened sort of between March, April, May, June, and now. And he says, how long have you had that? I said, I didn't even know it was there. I said, and he said, oh, here's a mirror. So he gave me a mirror, and, you know, you have a look at this thing. And it really was tiny. It was like a pinhead, okay, or like someone had got a felt pen and gone on the bottom of your lip. Anyway, he says, "Oh no, I want you to go and get that checked out at the hospital. It may just be a burst blood vessel or something like that, but always best to get these things checked out, and it doesn't cost you anything." And this is the fantastic thing with the NHS. When you get things like this, it's always free. I mean, I say it's free. We all pay into the system, and. But when you need something like that, you just go in and it's all dealt with. I know in America, it's very, very expensive to have anything medical done, isn't it? And our NHS here in the UK is a fantastic thing. Indeed, it is really abused, I do feel, by people a lot of the time. I once knew a lady who worked as a nurse in a casualty unit in East London. And I used to ring her. She used to listen to me when I was doing my overnight show on Liberty Radio in London in the year 1999 to 2000. And she would say to me, look at me. And I actually went down to meet her one day. It was sort of a meet the listener type thing, which was very exciting. She was lovely because I didn't tell her I was going to turn up. So I did my radio show. And then I went down there and I says, I won't tell her. I won't tell you her name because she might have got into trouble telling me these things. But I went down to the hospital to meet her. And I said, can I see so-and-so, please? And she said, yes, just a moment, I'll get her. And this lady came out. And she said, yes. I said, are you so-and-so? Yes. I said, hello, I'm Chris. Chris, yeah, from Liberty Radio. And she said, Chris. And she come over and she flung her arms around me. I said, I just thought I'd see what you look like. I shouldn't really do things like that, I suppose. It's not illegal, is it? I mean, you can trust Chris Reardon, dear. If I ever come to meet you, all I ask is that you put the kettle on and have a couple of chocolate biscuits or a cheese and onion pasty waiting for me. Oh, incidentally, I must thank John at West 5 for last night for providing me with a meal of a bag of cheese and onion crisps and a cheese and onion pasty. Thank you very much for that, John. And bless me, Suko, for I have... Oh, no, not really. Cheese and onion pasties aren't fast food, are they, Suko? Although I do feel I have sinned because I had one of those last night and I had 2 cheese and onion pasties with tomato sauce just before I came up to chat to you today. So I think, yes, bless me, Suko, for I have sinned. But thank you, John, for the cheese and onion pasty last night and the cheese and onion crisps. John is the manager of West 5, someone that I get on with like an absolute house on fire, and he sometimes comes along to Belushi's bar in Hammersmith on a Monday night where we do the karaoke and we have a bit of a laugh down there. So thanks very much for that, John. Now, where was I? Oh, yes, back to the story of the dentist. So there was a little dot there. So yesterday, you make the appointment and... oh, hang on, I was just talking about the NHS then, wasn't I? What was I going on about? The fact that it's free. Oh, yes. And the lady in Casualty that I went to meet, I said, are you busy tonight? She says, well, we are. She said, but there's nothing serious in here. I said, what do you mean? I mean, because the waiting room was packed. And quite often you come into a hospital in the UK and the casualty waiting area is full up with people. And I said, what do you mean there's no one serious? I said, it's full up in here. She says, look at them all. She went, look at them all. Like that, she went, look at them all. Sore throats and broken and cut fingers. That's all that's wrong with this lot. I says, you're joking. She says, no. She says they think they get a sore throat or they have a little cut on their finger and they come in here to get a free plaster. I said, are you serious? She says, absolutely. She says, if we went through this lot and were able to say, no, we're not treating you, you go to your doctor in the morning, we could get rid of 3/4 of the people in here. She said, it's shocking. And that's what I mean by abuse of the system. Because people do that, it's a lot busier, perhaps, than it should be. And it clogs it all up for the real people with emergencies. And it is a bit shocking. Also, I tell you what else does annoy me, and it annoys a lot of people here in the UK, is people from other countries that travel here to the UK to get free hospital treatment when they've paid nothing into the system at all. And I am rather peeved by that. Of course, other people would say, and I do understand what you're coming from here, that a human being is a human being. Are you saying that if someone comes to this country and needs hospital treatment, we shouldn't treat them? No, of course I'm not. If you come to the country on a holiday and you fall ill or something, fair enough. But I think it's a bit unfair that the people in one country are perhaps paying for someone from another country just to come over, have the treatment, and off they go back home again. That's wrong. I do think that's wrong. If you've got any comments on that at all, please send them through. Chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. As I say, we have a very, very good system here, and it's free, like for people like me, who ever need anything done. About 12 years ago now, I think it was, I had a burst appendix. the treatment, except for one particular nurse who was the nurse from hell. She was awful, this woman. And of course she was my nurse, but I did have another nice nurse there, a male nurse who was really nice to me. And it was good treatment, you know. How many thousands would that have cost me had I have had to pay it? So the NHS, in all, is a damn good service. I feel quite often there are far too many administrators, you know, pen pushers, who get a lot of money. My personal feeling is, if you want to work in a hospital, a lot of it is dedication. And these people at the top, the managing whatever they are, who are on thousands and thousands of pounds. Now that, to me, in a hospital is wrong. I really do feel that. We do sometimes have articles in the paper here in the UK telling us how overpaid doctors are and surgeons. My personal view of that is they are saving lives. I personally feel a doctor's money or a surgeon's money is worth every penny. They are the people that should be getting most of the money, not the people at the top pushing around these bits of paper all over the place. And there's far too many of them. Far too many administration staff pushing around bits of paper. Yes, of course, we do need administration staff pushing around bits of paper. I know that. But the ones right at the top are getting far, far too much money, to the cost of perhaps having another incubator or another heart machine. Any gossip on that? Let me know. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. So back to my story yesterday. So I went to the hospital yesterday afternoon, 2 o'clock appointment. Very, very good. The Royal Berkshire Hospital I went to, which is just down the road in Reading. I had a 2 o'clock appointment. Now, when I have what I would call important appointments like that, I always leave plenty of time. I was there at about 1:05 in the afternoon, to be honest, but I like to find a parking space just up a little bit further. Now, the hospital itself does have a brand new, they've recently had the whole place done out. They spent a lot of money there. Awful lot of money on that hospital, and then they've now got a multi-storey car park. But you know me, dear, I don't like to pay unless absolutely necessary, so just by getting there a little bit early, I was able to go a bit further up the road and found a free parking spot on the road, saving myself approximately £2.50. Ta-da! Happy, 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 which I immediately rushed into the hospital and spent at the League of Friends on a cup of tea. And a bag of cheese and onion crisps. So I went in there, I found out where I had to go, used the toilet, and then I had a little sit down and purchased myself a newspaper, the Daily Mail. Read that, and then it was about 10 to 2, so I went back to the department. I must say, I'm not very good at reading maps, as you probably know. And this map of the hospital, it did say where I had to go. I hadn't a clue where this place was. But fortunately, I asked at one of the other departments, and it was only 2 more departments down, so that was easy to find. Went in there. Now, I noticed when you go in these departments now, they all have little bottles of cleansing gel, and you're supposed to go in there and just put this gel on your hands, wipe it around, and then carry on in. So that's a good thing, because they're trying to cut. We've got a bit of a problem with, or we've had a problem with MRSA here in the UK at the moment, which they're trying to deal with. I mean, they are doing their best, of course. You know, no one wants any of these awful diseases or anything like that in a hospital, do they? So I did that, and I sat down. And I think there was only about 3 of us in. There was a man in a wheelchair. He was waiting to be taken home, and another dear old lady there. She must have been 90 in this particular department. Now, what was the name of the department? Max Face or something like that. Anyway, it was to do, I believe, with blemishes on your face, okay? And indeed, that's what the dentist thought this thing on my lip was. So I sat down there, 10 to 2. As those 10 minutes went by, the entire department filled up fairly quickly. And my appointment was for 2:00. Well, damn me, 2:00 I looked at the clock, 2:00 straight away. Hello, Chris Reardon, please. And a gentleman was standing there with a nurse as well. And I put my hand up. He says, come this way, please. So I went down and sat into what was like, it was a bit like a dentist chair, actually. And he went through all my notes and that. Are you allergic to anything? So I said, no. Are you on any medication? I said, well, three lots of heroin a day. He said, that's fine. He ticked that. Shouldn't say, that's dreadful. I am not a drug addict. Look, do you want to look at my arm now? Do you smoke? Only 1,000 a day. No, so I mean, he ticked all these things off. No, fine. So that was that. And he said, what seems to be the problem? I says, well, the dentist said I had a little black thing on my lip. I said, to be honest, I never noticed it myself. I said, but he thinks I should come in and have a look. He says, OK, then. He said, lean back in the chair. So we leant back in the chair. And the light came on and he moved it into position. And he put his rubber gloves on. I thought, oh, my God, I'm not going to have an internal examination as well. I don't like that, dear. Oh, no, we're not having any internal examinations in a dentist, thank you very much. It's bad enough putting his hands in my mouth. Where else does he want to go with these rubber gloves, I thought to myself. Anyway, so he's pulling my lip apart, and he says, any pain at all? I said, nope, none. He said, has it ever come up? I said, nope. He said, do you even know it's there? I said, not until the dentist told me no. I said, it doesn't feel at all. It's just like, feels like a normal lip. He says, okay. So I had a good look. He says, right. And he was only looking for about 30 seconds, if that, really. And he says, let's have a look in your mouth. Put your tongue to one side. Okay. Like that. And he says, OK. He said, well, the little black dot on your lip is nothing to be alarmed about. He said, it looks at some point like you've possibly cut your lip there and it's grown back over, but that little bit of blood has become trapped between the two. He said, if you want, we can remove it. He said, but it's not going to do anything. It will just sit there. It might fade. It might stay there. What do you want to do? I said, the dentist is the only one that's noticed it, so I'm not going to bother. Just leave it alone. He said, that's fine. Okay, then. He said, you've actually got a little ulcer in your mouth. And I said, oh, yes, I know about that. I said, that's been hanging around for about 3 weeks. He says, yes, I'm afraid that's not going to go, he says, because if I give you the mirror again, he says, you probably won't actually be able to see that. So he gave me the mirror again. He said, but you've got a little bit of tooth sticking out, and that is rubbing against the underneath of my tongue and making the ulcer. So I've got to go back to the dentist, and I've already made an appointment to go back tomorrow to smooth a little bump down. Now, if I remember rightly, didn't I tell you this ulcer came up just after I visit the hygienist? So I reckon she's scraped, and it's obviously got damaged. Possibly the tooth has got damaged, or it might be a filling. Anyway, a little possibly jagged edge. If I put my tongue here, right? I mean, it doesn't feel jagged. Doesn't feel jagged at all. But the doctor says I need to go back to the dentist and have it smoothed down, and then that will cure the ulcer. But if I don't go to the dentist, then the ulcer will just stay there because it keeps. What did he call it? A cusp. That's it. He called it a cusp. That's a good one. I like that word, a cusp. Do you like that? So I should go back to the dentist tomorrow. So I'm all right and dandy. And I was out at 2:10. Brilliant service. And a really nice doctor. I'm not sure where he was from. He was of Asian appearance. They're all good, aren't they, those Asian doctors and dentists? Fantastic. I have an Asian... actually, the guy that looks after me, I think is South African. But the first time I went there was an Asian lady. She was lovely, she was. Told me all about her You know how they talk? I like it when they talk to you while you're having any work done. It kind of takes your mind off it. And she's telling me all about her family and everything. Oh, it's great, man. Isn't it true? I mean, I don't know. Why is that? Why is it that Asians seem to be really good dentists? And I have to say, shopkeepers. I suppose... I don't know so much if there are as many now as there used to be. Because certainly in the 80s, we had a lot of Asian little corner shops everywhere. And you could go in these places till 10 o'clock at night. And if they didn't have something, you just tell them, and it would be there the next day. Brilliant. Brilliant business people. But I don't know if they've become sort of victims to the oversized supermarkets now, but there's certainly not as many Asian shops around as there used to be, which is a shame, really. Because you get that culture and you go in and meet the people and you know what I'm like, dear. I just start talking to them about anything. We like to find out about people. So that was my trip and dentist tomorrow. So I'll let you know how that goes. Okay, let's move on to some emails. Cool, dear, because we're not getting very far today, do we? Oh, I meant to tell you. I also been watching the telly, a programme we have here on Channel 5 called The Gadget Show. And this kind of ties up with the dentist and the hospital visit, because they did the top 5 electric toothbrushes. I don't know if you have an electric toothbrush, as I do. I have an Oral-B, it's just a basic Oral-B. It wasn't particularly expensive. But they did these top 5 toothbrushes, and they had a dentist in to tell you which one he thought was the best out of all of them. And the Oral-B Triumph with Bluetooth technology came out tops. And this was about £69. And I've decided I'm going to go out and buy one of those. Yes, lovey! Let's... Because I have... Oh, please! I haven't bought a gadget for weeks, so I must have a new gadget. And that electric toothbrush, that one I've got, is quite old now. So on the advice of the Gadget Show, and indeed the dentist, I'm going to buy an Oral-B Triumph with Bluetooth technology toothbrush. Apparently 40,000 revolutions per second or per minute, I don't know. The plaque won't have anything to hold on to at all, my dears. Nothing at all. Here we go with the emails. First of all, a couple of messages that I've pulled down off the Facebook. First of all, from young Sherry. Hello, Sherry. I used to work with Sherry at a place called the Long Island Tea Shop in London, which is sadly no longer there. And on the subject of the bar staff, she says, I hope you didn't mean any of the Long Island staff. I certainly didn't, my darling. Didn't mean any of you lot at all. You lot were great to work with. It's not been, I can't lie. I've worked with, I must be a few hundred bar staff now over the years, and there are very few that are miserable. Just one or two, very, very few. The miserable ones don't tend to last. But there has been. I've got to be so careful. I'm not going to name them. There's no way I'm going to name them. There is well, actually it's just one. And this person could be girl or woman or man or boy. This person seems to have managed to hang on to its job for so long, and I call it an it. Miserable as sin, dear. She says, P.S. In answer to your question about this reverse auction on the radio, do you remember, I found that whole reverse auction thing very confusing. She says, it's not the first person who bids the lowest answer amount that wins. They give you a certain period of time to bid, and the winner is the person with the lowest bid overall. For example, if only one person has bid £2.34, and that's the lowest amount bid by one person, then they will win. I hope that explains it. Not that I waste my time taking part in that rubbish. Take care, see you soon, and that's from Sherry. Thank you, Sherry. Yeah, even that, I'm still kind of finding that quite confusing, to be honest, Sherry. Although I do, of course, appreciate you trying to explain it to me. I wonder if, because it might be my dyslexia with numbers. That's the problem here. However, John from West 5 in Ealing in London has written it down so well that I completely understand it. See if you can work this out, right? Hi, Chris. Lowest bid reverse auctions work like this. The bidding takes place, okay? So The radio station says, "Okay, we've got a how low reverse organ. We've got a mirror ball for the auction today. The lowest unique bid will win." Now, when they say that, I don't understand how it works. They often explain around that general speech, but none of them, no one on the radio has ever been able to make me understand how that works. John has. He says the bidding takes place, as you just heard me do. All bids are secret. The lowest unique bid wins. Right? Still don't understand it. But then he does. For example, bids. For 1 pence, 20 bids. For 2 pence, 3 bids. For 4 pence, 2 bids. For 5 pence, 25 bids. So 25 people rung in and said 5 pence. Okay? 1 person rung in and said 6 pence. 5 people rung in and said 7 pence. 1 person rung in and said 8 pence. 4 people rung in and said 10 pence. And he goes on to say the winning bid is 6 pence because it is the lowest unique bid. See, it's simple, you silly old queen. Beg pardon, dear? Beg pardon? What do you mean by that? Silly old queen? What a cheek, dear. I don't do this programme so that people like you can email me and insult me. It's a liberty, that's what it is. And that's from Jackie Union, who also hosts the karaoke every Sunday now. So now I do completely understand that, John. I absolutely completely understand that now. I now know how a how low reverse auction wins. Was anyone else totally confused by how a how low reverse auction wins? And indeed, are you in another country and you have a similar thing? Please let me know. Was anyone totally confused until Miss Jackie Union sent that in there? Please let me know. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Now, we've got a policeman now watching the programme. A young policeman. Hello, sir. It's all right, I shan't give on your surname, but Daniel, the policeman. Daniel I've known for quite a number of years. He used to come to dance and meet people indeed at Heaven, which is a nightclub in London that I worked at. Oh, not last year. When was it I worked there? 2000, I think it was 2002 to 2005. Hang on, when did I stop there? This was 7. What is it now? 8, 7, 6. No, 2003 to 2006 I worked there, and Daniel used to be a customer there, and I kind of become friends with him. He's much younger than me, but he is now a policeman. It's funny, actually, Daniel, you know, when the police are you become older than the police. There's just something strange about that. Anyway, he says, "Hail Dally Who." I mean, is that the sort of language we want coming from a policeman? That's the thing, Daniel. Hey, Dally Who. Hey, Dally Who. Hey, Dally Who. I quite like that. Hey, Dally Who. Is that what you say when you're arresting people? Hey, Dally Who, come over here, boy. Is that what you say? I actually know another young police officer. His name's Chris. And he tells me, I say, what's it like arresting people? He said, well, it's okay. He said, but the young ones are quite funny. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, quite often if they've done something, maybe, I don't know. I mean, throwing rubbish, for example. Is that a minor offence? I don't think it is a minor offence, because it just spoils the environment for everyone else. But when they go to have a word with a youngster, sort of, you know, with the hooded top on, and he says they go to arrest them, they usually stand there and they start that movement. Hang on, I'm going to stand up to do this. I don't know if you believe about those of you watching, and they're like this. Yeah, so what are you going to do about it then? And they sort of sway from side to side. What are you going to do about it then, mate? Come on, what you going to do about it? And they're a bit like that. And Chris told me that he just stands there and with his hands behind his back like that and waits for them to stop. Is that what you do as well, Daniel? They are funny though, aren't they, when they get caught? The thing is, I think when I was a youngster, I mean, I never ever brushed law at all with a policeman at all. I wasn't naughty boy or anything like that. But certainly, if I was told off by my parents, if I was caught doing something, I would say, "Yeah, I'm sorry." Now they lie to you straight. And no, I didn't do it. And some of them are really good liars, aren't they? Be honest. It's very, very different now. Very different now. If a teacher told me off at school, or perhaps a neighbour, then I'd be in serious trouble at home. Now, what seems to happen a lot of the time is if the teacher has a go at a child, the parent comes down and has a go at the teacher. How does that work? And perhaps that's why we're in such a terrible situation as we are now. I don't know. Anyway, back to the email. Hey, Dally Who, says Daniel. He said, I just watched your show. You'd made me laugh. Well, that is what I try and do, lovey. We try and make people laugh. And if they don't laugh at what I've got to say, I come round and I tickle them with my tickling finger. Yes. Lift those arms up and let me to your armpits. Tickle, tickle, tickle. Yes. He said, I've decided you need to do a shout out for me. Hey, I'd love it. So there you are, Daniel, a shout out for you. And I have been watching your Facebook messages. Apparently someone brought a smile to your face last week. Is that right? I did see that message on your Facebook. He says, anyway, hope you're okay, mister. We must arrange drinks. I haven't seen the boy for about 3 years now. He's been very busy. And he's doing some stuff in court, and that's all I can say on that, all right? Don't worry, Daniel, I shall not reveal your true identity. It will be our little secret. All right? Thank you, Daniel. Lovely to hear from you. And there's your shout. All right? Now, Cataline. I've got an email from Cataline here somewhere about a celebration. Now, where on earth have I... Is this it? Here we are. Hang on, what's the date? Oh, I think this is going to be too early to do this. Oh, yeah, that'll be for the next show, I reckon. Yep, Cataline, it's for the next show, my love. I am your sunshine, your only sunshine. Now, another person who has become a friend of mine on Facebook, and indeed, if you too would like to become a friend... then join me by searching on Facebook for Chris Reardon London. Chris Reardon London, and you'll see me sitting there in a posh armchair drinking a cup of tea. Okay, we need to do a new picture on this soon. I might do one in the living room, but it'll have to be the same, won't it? Me holding a cup of tea and drinking my tea. Is the mirror ball turning today? Yeah, I thought for a moment I hadn't turned that on. And one of my friends is Irving Distiller. Irving Distiller. I have a feeling it's actually Wayne, Anonymous, but I'm not sure. He says, he commented on my status. Now, on Facebook, you can put your status. And recently, over the last couple of shows, I've been advertising the talk show on that status and where to watch it. And I kind of put a little bit of a teaser there. And it says at the top something like, Chris is, and for a few days it said, Chris is talking about bad bar staff. Watch now here, and then I would put the address of where they can find the show. And do you know what? I can't believe what a huge increase in the amount of people that watch the show. Because within a day, 200 people had watched the YouTube version of the show. So clearly that works. What you have to do is put a little teaser to the show. Perhaps Joe from AmericanTalkUSA.com, James Dean from MatineeShow.co.uk, or thematineeshow.co.uk, and Ross P from his chat show, which you can find at rosspatselt.co.uk. Perhaps on your Facebook, that might be an idea for you to do it there. So, I mean, you haven't got a lot of space up there. You can't put like a whole summary of a show, but if you just put like a little teaser, something like, as I say, Chris is talking about bad bar staff. Watch the show now at, and then put the address or wherever the show can be watched. And that made a huge increase in the amount of people that watched that particular episode. Instead of being like, in a day, this is in a day, okay? Instead of being something like 70 views in one day, it was like 205. So might be an idea for you to try that, boys, okay? Once again, my Facebook, if you want to join me on that, is Chris Reardon London. Now, Irving commented, and he says, those faint sounds you may hear in the background of Chris's programme is me taking inventory of the items in his trash bin. Now, you may have noticed whenever, of course, we do the show outside in the garden or indeed anywhere else, there's always a bit of background noise, whether it's a plane going over or people walking on the little path behind my fence. He reckons part of the noise you heard last time was while I was actually doing the show in the garden, he was secretly in my rubbish bin. In my wheelie bin outside. It's a liberty, that's what it is. They're always going through there. People are always going through my bins, looking for little souvenirs of my life. They'll probably end up on eBay, I suppose. Oh, incidentally, I meant to tell you that. I have now got a... where is it? Where is it? I have now got... I think this is it here. Is that it? Oh, hang on. Oh, can't find it now. Doesn't matter. I have got a turquoise star on eBay. Yes, which means I've got lots of positive reviews. Now, I've never actually sold anything on. I have actually years ago. I think I sold some records and I didn't get the money from them, so I didn't bother after that. But I do buy an awful lot. Well, I say an awful lot. I do buy a bit on eBay. Certainly, most of my clothes come off there. I'm not proud at all. You know, don't bother me if you can get a really decent T-shirt for about a £5, why not? And because my track record is so good, I have received a turquoise star. So there. Ha! A turquoise star. Mother. Perhaps I could display it up here in the studio. Oh, I've got a star here somewhere. Where is it? Where's that star? I don't know where that is. Where's my little star? It used to be there. Well, mind you, it's a white one, isn't it? So that wouldn't be. We need a turquoise star. Irving says, those faint sounds you may hear in the background of Chris's programme is me taking inventory of the items in his trash bin. So far, I have recovered a 1938 Western electric mixer, RCA 44DX microphone, operating manual for the BBC's 5.975 MHz shortwave transmitter, a 1940s pram, and Chris claims to be how old? An umbrella with several crude patches on it, and a lollipop lady's uniform. Stop going through my rubbish bins, will you please? If you want something, ask and I'll send you a mug or something, okay? Matthew in Australia, have you got your mug yet, by the way? Because that was sent a couple of weeks ago. Well, it should have been sent anyway. I shall double check with my sister that he's sent that out, my darling, okay? Irvin also writes, despite keeping his kitchen in disarray, Chris's recycle bin is neat and tidy. All item washed and separated into groups of glass and metal, and indeed they certainly are. There are 3 empty jars of Marmite, 5 of Bovril, and 27 tins of Spam. And he claims to be feeding fresh meat to his oldest cat. Funny thing, 5 of the Spam tins have lipstick impressions on them. Is Chris a do-gooder? I found a box full of handbills in his shed from theprivycouncil.com, advocating clean and free public toilets for all. Perhaps this was his response to the last quick stop that he had to make. Oh, it's got to be Wayne Anonymous sending all this stuff, isn't it? Eh? We could do with more public toilets though here in the UK, I tell you. Mind you, oh, you can't put them over the forest though, can you? I remember when I used to go jogging, quite often I'd have to dart behind a tree suddenly. Oh, it's dreadful. Just enough on that subject. Irving also wrote, Matthew may be onto something here. Does Chris work nights so that he can use someone else's lights and electricity? I'll bet Chris takes his rechargeable batteries and charges with him to work and plugs them in when the manager is not looking. I tell you what, Irving, you are exactly right on that one. I do it all the time. I don't charge my mobile phone. You know the little Bluetooth. Have anyone got Bluetooth headsets that you wear in the car? Never charge them up at home. Oh no, I always charge them up at work. It's true. You just plug them in for 4 hours. No one notices. Why use your own electricity when you can use someone else's? That's what I say, lovey. I mean, it may only be 20 or 30 pence, but there's another 20 or 30 pence in the bank. It is. Incidentally, this morning I had to rush to the bank. I had to go to emergency deposits section. Oh yes, they've set that up specially for me, an emergency deposits section. I had to rush in there because I got up a bit late this morning and I needed to put my wages in, and because I got there late, I probably lost about 3 pence interest. Now, there are probably people listening to the show at the moment thinking, 3 pence? You're worried about losing it? Absolutely. Yes. 3 pence is 3 pence, my dear. It's like that lady, British Airways lady who comes in the swimming pool. They've got a new points system in the sports centre I use now. And I can collect up to 300 points a week just by visiting the sports centre. And then when you get 2,000 points, you get a £5 voucher to spend in the restaurant. Right? So I was excitedly telling the British Airways lady this. And she said to me, £5? She says, is it worth it? I said, yes, it is worth it, dear. That's £5 for doing nothing, my love. Just by visiting. And it only takes 3 visits a week to get the 300 points, love. Yes, you get 100 points a visit, maximum of 300 a week. Marvellous, dear. Marvellous. And she said, is that all? £5? I said, yes, £5 a week. So I have already accumulated, I'm pleased to say, 400 points so far. So we're on our way to our first fiver. And talking of British Airways, and I've got it here. Now, I'm at pains to point out this programme is not sponsored by British Airways, and this isn't really an advert for British Airways, although it was used as an advert for British Airways years ago. I have 3 favourite commercial jingles of all time. They are an old Safeways advert. Now, Safeways was a supermarket here in the UK, which was taken over by Morrison's, so really Safeways doesn't exist here anymore. Also, an advertisement for Purcell Automatic called New System Purcell Automatic. We found a system, New System Purcell Automatic. And also, and I'm going to play you, but that's another advert I like, the Purcell Automatic one. Now I've managed to locate all 3 of these, and the one at the top of the tree is this one that I'm going to play you now. I remember this advert when I was at school, and it's just such a powerful, patriotic piece of music and song, and I can't understand why the company British Airways ever dropped it. They should have kept this one going for years. It does go on the lines. We have some really patriotic songs here in the UK. Land of Hope and Glory, Rule Britannia. You may have heard some of them. But what you may not have heard is this advert, which was out way back in the 70s. And it just says it all. I want you to have a little listen to this, okay? The British Airways advert from, I don't know what year it was actually from, sometime in the 70s. We'll take more care of you. Have a listen to this, all right? It's really good.
We'll take more care of you. There's sunshine, a familiar face, a whole world waiting for you. There's all the fun of getting there, all the
fly the flag. Fly British Airways.
Hey, what do you reckon on that? I told you, isn't that so patriotic, that song? I don't dare play it to you again. I don't think I'm really supposed to play you that sort of stuff because all the other airlines are, oh, you're advertising them for nothing. No, we're not advertising them for nothing. I just told you, the programme is not sponsored by anyone, but it could be sponsored by you. We are looking for a sponsor on the programme. If you're interested, get in touch, because it would be nice to be paid to actually do this. Although I do it for the love, you know that love. Even without the money, I will carry on. I shall carry on, dear. Don't worry. So there we are, the old, my favourite advert of all time, that one. The British Airways will take more care of you. I'll play the Purcell automatic advert at some point as well. And indeed the Safe, I know I played the Safe one for you, Safeways for you one a long, long time ago. Safeway, everything you want from a store and a little bit more. So I'll dig that one out as well. What is your favourite advertising jingle of all time? Wherever you are in the world, have you got a favourite? Perhaps you could provide me with a link to it as well so that I can listen to it. I like big, powerful orchestral numbers like that. Okay, let me know what yours is. All right, I want to know. Chris at UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk. Chris at UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk. And that's a bit about it for the show today. I've got some emails I'm still holding from Iceland. Good news from Iceland from Robert. Susan, our cat lover. Daniel. Hello, Daniel. And Doug as well. Carl. Well, they're all here. They'll all be up in the next show, right? The email address, Chris at UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk. See you on the next show. Thanks so much for listening. Bye-bye now.